Well, you know, he's being compared to Penny Hardaway. And, I mean, that's saying he's pretty good. Yeah. You know, I mean, the way he plays the game, I mean, his length, you know, he has a great feel for it, can get guys involved, can't shoot it that great, but in the NBA, all you do is shoot every day in practice anyway, so he'll get better at that. But I think people have fallen in love with him because his size, his feel for the game, and his ability to be able to get other guys involved when he has the basketball.
Plus, Martin, he excelled in the global games, in competition against elite-level players. And then I also think, you know, like he's 18 years old. And take a look at Tony Parker, who just won yet another NBA championship. He came over here, late-round draft pick from Paris Racing, France. And look at the career he's had. That doesn't mean that you're going to have a Tony Parker, but it's the idea he has the length, he has really good feel. His dad was a player, good basketball genes as well. He's excelled when he's playing against higher level of competition. While it's hard to judge him when he's playing in Australia, it's not as difficult when you see him in person, especially when he came stateside. And I think that he can be a very good defensive player as well. And the best players in the league play both ends of the floor. We fall in love talking about shooting percentages and what a guy brings to an offense, but especially at the point guard position, if you can defend somebody with length, you can change how somebody gets into their offense, and that completely changes the forecast of a game or the forecast of your season.
So it seems like we know Embiid, Parker, Wiggins, in some order are going 1, 2, 3, at which point it leads to Orlando at 4, and they're probably, I think, going to take Dante Exum there. So he could go 4th overall. Now, you've got questions. How does he play with Victor Oladipo? Which one's the 1? Which one's the 2? But I think I would just fall back on this logic. If you genuinely think he can be a star, and there are some people who hold that opinion, then you don't let somebody like Victor Oladipo dictate that. If he's a star and you believe that to be, you take him and you figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. You talk about the other end of the floor. Think about those two guys at the defensive end of the floor. With their length, the ability to control the pick and roll is so important, and I think he'll be a very good pick and roll defender. And I think the fact that the NBA has now opened its doors to international players being much more welcome, being much more comfortable in the culture of the NBA really bodes well for these guys. We've seen so much success of the Tony Parkers, the Boris Diaws, the Dirk Nowitzkis, you name it. Now the NBA has become a global game. That's going to open it up and bode well for
you know,
Dante
guys,
Exum.
if you look at Rob Hennigan, who's their general manager, he came from Oklahoma City, right? Well, when Oklahoma City got to the finals, like, who was their point guard? Was it Russell Westbrook? He didn't really play point in college. Was it Kevin Durant? Well, he's not a point, but he can at least bring the ball up the court. Was it James Harden? Well, he's kind of a point forward type. So much like the San Antonio guys go from San Antonio and try and create what they have in San Antonio elsewhere, you got a guy that's an Oklahoma City guy that's taken, you know, kind of a copy because Oklahoma City originally came from the San Antonio guys, and now they're like, well, you know, we can just get really good guards that create shots and that wreak havoc defensively.
Doug, what about concerns with Exum? Are there, and if there are, what are they in your mind?
Shooting, position, and how will his body fill out? It's like he's long and lean, but will he ever, you know, put on weight? Will he be able to be powerful, take the pounding of the NBA? But I think the biggest thing is probably the jump shot. And we all think, well, you know, they're young and they'll develop. Some guys don't develop jump shots. And he has to be more consistent with it, because if you can't get somebody to play you tight and you're just lengthy and you're not really explosive, that can be problematic.
Yeah. I agree. Shooting is big, and it's going to rear its ugly head over the course of 82 games. You can have one good shooting game, but if you're off for 4 or 5 nights, that's not going to bode well for your team. You need to be a consistent shooter. He has all the makings, and he's a winner, and he's a baller, and he's been playing high-level competition since he's been 15, so he's very fundamentally sound. That's the only concern for me, but I think he's going to be a good pro.
Yeah, I definitely. Shooting, that's definitely a concern, but that's something I don't worry about too much, because I said it a little earlier, that's all you do is shoot. And when you're in practice, you get a ton of shots up. The thing I like about him is his ability to be able to get other guys involved. That's going to attract free agents, because while you know as a scorer, you want to play with a guard that know how to get you shots. And I think he as he grows, he'll learn how to find that happy medium when to take shots and when to get his teammates involved.
The lack of a quality jump shot right now is an undeniable issue, but it's not concerning to me, because we just watched NBA Finals where, you know, Patty Mills, Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, guys who weren't great college shooters, or even good college shooters, turn into great. That seems to be, in the year 2014, the one thing that we see pros consistently do, which is, even if they weren't good shooters in college, they can develop that as they get older. I would trust that he'll be able to do the same thing.